disease is insidious, and it is much more widespread than I think most people understand, until that day that you wake up and the whole world is different.
It's the hardest, most disgusting disease because your loved one is dying in front of you and you can't stop it.
It was very shocking when he got sick. I knew he was going downhill, but when he couldn't balance the checkbook, for a man who could usually do it in 20 minutes, it was taking him hours, so I knew there was something very, very wrong.
And you don't want them to suffer. You want them to be joyful. You want them to be happy. But you can't control a darn thing about the disease.
Insight Memory Care was a lifeline for both of us. That first mind and body workshop was wonderful to get to know other people and see people who were going through the same thing that we were.
This center is a godsend. There is nothing else like it in DC, Maryland, or Virginia. There's just no other place. So people are left at home to deal with it, or they are forced, perhaps earlier than they would need to put their loved ones into assisted living facilities because they can't handle it at home anymore. We started out, we went from the early stage program to the middle stage program to 2 days a week in the daycare program to, I think we ended up at 4 or 5 days a week in the daycare program. Oh, I knew from the beginning that this was a very unique place, and that I was so grateful that I had found it.
If I had never ever found this place, I don't think I would have survived finding anything for my wife. I was just lost, totally blindsided. I just tried to still work from 2011 when my wife got diagnosed. I ended up really pretty much 99% retiring because just caring for her took my time. I couldn't leave her at home.
It's a whole lot better to have something in place than to have to start from scratch. You know, we were lucky enough to have this place in place for us.
It's just wonderful to have somebody that you can talk to that understands what you're going through, because you know that your friends have no experience with this and they don't want to hear the craziness that goes on and the heartbreak that you experience. And so we find brightness when we go out for lunch and we have a good time.
When he was first diagnosed, his neurologist said to us, there's 2 things that Bob needs more than any medication that I can give him, and will do him more good than any of the medications. And those 2 things were stimulation and socialization. And the stimulation was both physical and intellectual stimulation. It was also the only place that you could go and both cry and sometimes scream. It was an outlet that I needed, and I don't know what people do who don't have that outlet. I don't know how they cope.
Nobody can understand this journey better than somebody who's already been through this path. No one else really can quite, as much as they want to. It's really difficult unless you've actually been there, and been there day after day and week after week. The support that we get as caretakers has been just critical.
He was here for 18 months, and during that time, his cognitive abilities stayed at a very high level. And I give the credit to Insight and the activities and the staff. I felt like this was a home away from home. But you walk in here, and it's wonderful. Insight is an incredible place for your loved one who has dementia to come. You cannot keep someone with dementia at home and take care of that person yourself. It takes a village, and Insight is that village.